Welcome back to Running with Coach Tori.
And Jeff.
And I got a frog in my throat. It's a terrible way to start. We are bringing you the running news from the week, whether it is to entertain you on your long run or to give you something to talk about with your running group. We've got you covered. We're here live on YouTube, and I'm sure we are alone because I yet again forgot to post it. Someday it'll get on there, but Tuesdays, usually at 9:45. Be there, be square. American Run Club, YouTube.
Well, with no one watching, it takes the pressure off, so that's good.
That's true. And also, there could be people watching. I don't know where I would find that information anyway. So, me and the technology, I'm like really killing it today. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, you just got down to Florida. It's cold. Are you still planning to run?
I am planning to run, although I will say I'm still going to hang my hat on the fact that I ran 4 times before our last podcast because I've run 0 times before this podcast. But I am this week. I'll definitely get in 3 or 4 runs. So, and I'll start my lifting workout too. So I feel like I'm kicking off my year.
Oh yeah, I mean it's only February.
Yep.
My husband came home from work yesterday and he's like, can you remind me to do my push-ups or whatever before we go to sleep or whatever? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, it's a New Year's resolution. I'm like, it's February. Like, what is this? Like, it's just a workout is what you're trying to do. What do you mean a New Year's resolution in February? But
by the way, have you seen him doing push-ups every night in the last 30 days?
Oh, no, he hasn't done. Well, he also didn't do them last night either. But, yeah, no, he gets on these kicks. I don't know why. The push-ups always. I'm like.
That's a good one, though. I think if you do push-ups and sit-ups and then just walk, you'll go a long way to just having a relatively fit, healthy life.
Was it Bruce Lee? He did all the push-ups, all the crunches or something?
Yeah. So did Herschel Walker, a running back for the Cowboys. He used to do and so does Matt, by the way, your brother. At least at times he gets onto these sit-ups and push-ups kicks. So, yeah.
Must be a guy thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I've never been on that kick.
Maybe it's a certain millennial guy thing. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. A young guy thing.
Yeah, well, are we young anymore? I don't know. I feel like it. I'm looking at the wrinkles under my eyes right now, and I'm like, young.
Yeah, it's all relative. You're a youngster. You're a youngster to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well,
any update from you on the fitness side?
No, got a new baby monitor, so hopefully I can get out to the shed. But then I went out to the shed last night to test the baby monitor, and I realized I have like 14 projects that are kind of taking up all the space in there that I have to move out. But I'm like, there's so much snow, I can't move anything, blah, blah, blah.
Now, you do have a heater in there now, right? Or no?
I mean, yeah, I have like a bathroom space heater in there, so it doesn't get warm.
Yeah, I mean, it's much colder up there, right? It was single digits, so that's rough. That's rough. Even on treadmill, I've done it. Actually, did it last week, and it's not terrible. But I was only doing 20-minute runs, so
yeah,
it's like you can tough it out for 20 minutes, but if you do much more than that, it's like, man, this is rough.
Yeah, the cold doesn't bother me so much, especially because like in the shed, you don't have the wind. It's when, well, probably not so much anymore, but like when I used to do like the CrossFit workouts and stuff and we have no heater in there, it's like if your bare hands have to grab that ice cold bar or the dumbbell, it's like that is brutal. And you can't wear gloves, you know what I mean? And yeah, so that's where it gets rough, but there's no space in there right now for me to do anything except for I guess get on the treadmill. So we'll see if that helps at all.
All right. Well, next week we'll get an update next week on that.
Yeah. We'll see. So yeah, I know we had some track meets, right? We're in indoor season.
Yeah, we're on indoor season. I know. I'm like, there are times I get off the track and field kick, but it does seem to be like a mainstay with me. It's like I do like track and field, but yeah. So there's one of the iconic indoor meets was this past weekend, the MillRose games. And it was exciting. I was actually just watching some of the YouTube videos of the races. So let's start with the men's Wanamaker Mile. This is one of the premier mile races in the U.S. And it was a pretty good field. Yard Naguse had won it the last couple of years, but it also had Cam Myers, Hobbs Kessler were both in the race. If you recall, Hobbs Kessler was the guy who set the world record last week in the 2K. So certainly a stacked field from that regard. And it basically, Cam Myers took it, a youngster. He's the young guy from Australia. He's, I think, 20 years old. So, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I think he was not favored. I think Yard was. But he ran a 347, beat Yard at 348. And Hobbs Kessler was third. Hobbs just seemed like he didn't have the legs at the end like he did last week, but that's probably because he raced hard last week. On the women's side, did you see the result?
I did, and I did see a little bit of the YouTube this morning.
Okay, yeah. Nikki. The surprise is Nikki Hills.
Surprise!
Nikki, the American.
Surprise?
Yeah. She beat Jessica Hull. She looked good. Yeah, I didn't see the end of the race, but I saw most of the race. I was actually just watching it when you and I chimed in together. So.
Yeah, no, I think they both looked good from what I saw. I was kind of surprised. They looked like they both kind of just broke off a little bit and then, cruised it to the end, and both looked super strong finishing. So I mean, it could have been anybody's race for sure. I was so surprised. I don't watch a lot of indoor track, and maybe that is like a part of it, but like I'm watching it, and usually when you're watching professional runners, you're like, they don't look like they're going that fast. You know what I mean? You're like obviously they are that fast, but you're like, they don't look like they're going that fast unless they're doing like the 100 meters, 200 meters. I'm like, man, like they looked like they were moving, and they were obviously, but like, usually you're watching and you're like, wait, that's what a 5 whatever mile looks like, but yeah, they were cruising. They look great.
Yeah, it does make you feel pedestrian when you see people who, because they're so fluid. It's just that natural. It's like even like a golf swing, right? A golf swing, it doesn't look like they're swinging that hard, and then they're driving at 300 yards, and you're out there, putting everything you have into it and going half that distance. So it's crazy that when people who are very, very good and smooth at something, it just doesn't look like they're trying as hard as you and I are.
Yeah, so, I know, it's crazy. Definitely a great race. I always love watching Nikki.
You see Cole Hocker run?
No, I saw a picture of his finish, but that was it.
The little night thing he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But see, now this is the kind of stuff, like we were talking about this last week, right? With Noah Lyles, like it just is unfortunate. He's so annoying, but it's like these smaller moments of like personality, a little bit of taunting, but like nothing crazy. Like that's better,
Yeah. No, I liked it. I mean, again, maybe because it's Cole Hocker versus Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
If it was Noah Lyles, I might have had a different reaction to it.
Oh, for sure. I would be like, well, what an annoying person.
Yeah, what an annoying guy he is. But Cole Hocker doesn't do it all the time. He, like that was the first time I saw him do anything that was sort of like outside the ordinary.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, he's obviously Olympic champion, world champion. Certainly has enough credits to do whatever he wants. He's certainly got more cred right now, I think, than Noah Lyles.
Mm-hmm.
He's certainly more accomplished in the short term. So, so I thought that was a 2 mile. So he ran an 8:07. He did beat Josh Kerr. Grant Fisher was a scratch.
Yeah, what happened to your boy?
He's I don't know.
Really ready for that half?
Yeah, I mean, maybe his loss last week to Hobbs Kessler in the 2K. Which isn't necessarily his event. He's also, I think you even mentioned it last week, I think he's gearing up for a half marathon in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was actually, I heard him on a podcast or an interview somewhere, and he was talking about, he needs to step up the mileage and stuff. So maybe it was just a healthy scratch. I didn't see any particular issue. I didn't look real hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
To see why he wasn't there, but nothing that seemed too concerning.
That's good.
Yeah. And then the other guy that I think from the MillRose games that I noted was in the 600 meters. I always don't love these like off-brand events. I'll call it that. Like, the 2K, the 600 meters. It's just not run all the time, so therefore it's a little suspect. But anyway, not to disrespect Cooper Luckenhouse. He's a young guy who ran the 800 meters last year, came out of nowhere.
Like a teenager, right?
Yeah, he's a high schooler. He's still in high school. So he set
Crazy.
the world record for the under 20 and high school world record um, at 114 in the 600. I don't know the 600 that well because it's not, again, not run very often.
Yeah.
But congrats. I mean, I'm sure it's run enough that the record's somewhat legit. And that's impressive. So,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you, and this is probably why I don't get so into um indoor track so much because it feels like they always have like the weird distances. You're like, what are you doing? You know?
yeah, 3K, 5K, like there's a bunch of different ones in there.
Even like the 60 meters. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, no one knows what a 60 meter. I mean, again, I ran a 60 meter in high school and stuff, but it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't translate. I mean, these tracks they can do 100 meters, maybe,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if the track will accommodate 100 meters, but that's okay.
then just don't do it, you know?
Hey, don't do it. Run it on a curve. That would be interesting. Run it on a curve.
Yeah. Ooh, fun. That
Make
would be
track interesting. That's what should be one of our episodes. What do we have to do to make track more interesting than it is now? Right now,
you know,
we have to rely on Noah Lyles.
I know, right? We need to get Mr. Beast on here and see if he can make track and field interesting.
Yeah, you're a big fan. You're going to be very disappointed when Mr. Beast comes out and turns out that he's a jerk.
Oh my gosh. It'll be not close to like my devastation over Lance Armstrong, but it'll be close. Like maybe close. I've become a really big Mr. Beast fan, and I'm not his general audience because I don't watch YouTube. I don't even know how to like use YouTube basically. Um but yeah, I mean I've seen a couple of his stuff. I've heard a couple
Yeah, since you
podcasts.
mentioned him, yeah, I think you mentioned him, or I mentioned him like 6 months ago, and I hadn't heard of him before then.
Yeah.
And now I've heard of him, like I'll read something and I'll see like a video by him. So yeah, like you, I see a lot more of it now. Maybe that's just in my feed because we've mentioned him a few times.
Yeah. Well, he's branching out of, I think, just the YouTube sphere. Like he has this is season 2 of Mr. Beast Games or the Beast Games or whatever is on, I think it's Amazon Prime. Um, so yeah, so I think it's because he's becoming a little more like, I would say mainstream, but just like maybe older people, we know who he is now.
Yeah, maybe. But I did see like he was complaining about the fact he, didn't have any cash, but
Yeah.
yet his company is worth like I don't know $700 million. Like it's like, yeah, listen, don't. You're not going to get a whole lot of sympathy. It's like if you really wanted to get some cash, I'm sure you could. Like to
Yeah.
tell me that you've got like $7 in your bank account, I'm going to call like BS. You could certainly have a lot more in there if you really wanted to. So
Yeah.
I'm calling BS on Mr. Beast.
Hey, he's cleaning up the oceans. Leave him alone.
Is that his claim to fame?
He's got a lot. I mean, he's like working on regenerative farming, child labor, cleaning the oceans. He's doing the most. I
Okay, all
appreciate
right,
it.
okay. All right. So then, it wouldn't be a podcast without mentioning Grand Slam track. So I
Oh
did see
no.
that, yeah, Sebastian Coe in World Athletics said it's unconscionable. I think last week we mentioned that in part of the bankruptcy proceedings, they were, Michael Johnson and his team were talking about 2026 and their plans for 2026, and they had actually allocated some funds for events in 2026. And I think there's been a bit of a backlash saying, like, hold on now, you got to clean up 2025 before you really get into 2026. And so the World Athletics saying, we're not going to sanction anything. I don't know what that really means. I mean, can you not have a track event if it's not sanctioned by World Athletics? I'm sure you
Yeah.
can. So anyway, but it seemed like there was a lot of backlash from a lot of people, athletes and World Athletics saying like, no, we're not going to support this in any way, shape, or form. And certainly, if athletes aren't going to support it, you can't have a 2026 event.
Yeah, and I see like both sides of that, right? Because like I want to just be like, Michael Johnson's really trying, and we liked Grand Slam track, and like people make mistakes, but I think it probably would have felt different. And I can't even think of what the like scandal could have been that wouldn't have felt bad. But it's like, yeah, it's hard to be like, I want athletes to keep coming out here knowing there was such an issue with them like getting paid. Like if it was something else, like this might sound bad too, but like even like you didn't pay the venues or like investors didn't get whatever. You know what I mean? Like you're not paying the talent, you're not paying the people who
Yeah.
are really working their asses off, you know? It's like yeah, it's hard to be like we can do something. We can look past it all and keep moving forward. I don't know.
Yeah, let's just focus on the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
telling
mean,
you.
it's certainly rough. Yeah, it's hard to feel. It's always mixed emotions you have about these things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I did hear that as part of, like, I know initially they hadn't paid any of the money or very little of the money, and I did hear at some point in time that they had an investor kick some $5 million in, so like half the prize money had been paid. I think you asked me last week. I'm like, I don't know what's been paid, but yeah, I think I saw that like half the prize money had been paid. But I mean, I don't know how many of those athletes were getting quote prize money. I mean, I know that you know big money was in the slams, but that's only a couple of the athletes, right? There's only a few athletes that were winning slams.
Mhm.
Um, so there's certainly many people in those races that aren't getting $100,000. Um, they're either covering their cost, but not necessarily making any kind of windfall.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if I think about it, the only way for them to get money to pay the athletes is if they do it again, though, right?
Yeah, that's the argument, right? It's like, well, we can't get investors unless we have an event. No one wants to just pay bills from last year with nothing in return. So you have to sort of get an investor to say, hey, will you invest in 2026 with the hope of a return? And by the way, we're going to use some of that money to settle up 2025. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. You do need sort of to have a 2026 to have, like, why would someone put money into a 2025 that's underwater? Like, why? So,
Yeah, that's rough.
yeah, it's rough. So,
Yikes.
next story is the police are coming. This is our
Another
police
yikes.
blotter section. There seems to be a number of athletes, and this is, by the way, not a Fred Curley story. Not a Fred Curley story this week. It's our other friend who's had a few run-ins with the law. Shakira Richardson got arrested. Did you see the video?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not celebrating someone going through this. So I certainly felt for her. I don't know when you saw the video. I felt bad for her. Like, this is, by the way, the video is the police officer video cam, and it's him in his car saying what the speed is 101, 103, 104 as he's sort of catching her. I couldn't tell where she was in the picture in the frame as far as in the car. But then it's the cam is of her in the car and him explaining that she's going to get arrested for driving 104. And she's a little upset. She's certainly, pleading her case and pleading as to why, please don't do this. And so I certainly feel bad for someone in that spot. But I don't feel bad for someone who's driving that dangerous. I mean, you're putting other people at risk. So I feel bad for her as a human and dealing with it, but I don't feel bad that she put herself in that spot. So
Yeah. So similarly, right? Like it helped her case too, because we also have seen, unfortunately, she is someone who doesn't always have control over her emotions, hence the last time she had a legal issue, right? So it
just
helped you feel
just
bad for
just to refresh the memory, what was the last legal issue, by the way?
oh, assaulting her boyfriend, who will come up in this story in the airport, where she multiple times shoved him to the point where he like flew a little bit. So we've seen that unfortunately, which again, people have bad days, but you can't, anyway, not to go back to that. Um, but like it helped you feel bad for her because, like you're saying, she just was like, please, please don't do this, right? She wasn't yelling, she wasn't cursing at the officer, she wasn't saying, she wasn't even like really denying it. She was trying to make excuses that like didn't make sense,
Now
I guess.
my phone, my car, I
But
didn't
there's
understand
something
the
with the
excuses.
tire, the speedometer, and now the police officer's like, you're driving a faulty vehicle. This fast seems even more dangerous.
Yeah, she was making the problem worse. The cop was not like, oh, your speedometer doesn't work. Oh, that's okay. He was like, you're driving faulty equipment.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it helps us feel sympathy for her because she was seemingly sorry and upset that this was happening, but not, acting irrationally or aggressively or mean or anything. So
Yeah,
I
she
think that
wasn't
was all
combative. She wasn't like, yeah, she wasn't like combative, and so it wasn't like the cop was like being threatened or concerned for his safety. He was just explaining,
right.
hey, that's not going to fly. You better call some people because you're going to get detained. And again, you're getting arrested for this. It's not like you're spending like a week in jail. I'm sure you had to go down to the. He did say the car was getting towed, but yeah, you have to go with the police. You have to go down to the station. I'm sure you get processed, but you're out. You're out that day.
Right. I would imagine, and I didn't look that much into this, that like I'm sure she was already on thin ice with any kind of sponsorship, anything like that, that like this is probably tipping it over the edge for her. With like, hey, you can't be a face of any brands because you're not the role model
Toxic.
we need you to be. So yeah, I mean, but you can't be dangerous, right? Like that's what I think, you're breaking the rules. And then I was a little murky on how Christian Coleman got involved, but it seems like he showed up in a separate vehicle. I guess probably she must have called him to say, like, this is what's happening. I need help or whatever it is. Or maybe they were driving the same place, whatever it was. But then he got in trouble for like resisting arrest non-violently, which I don't really understand what that means, unless he was like interfering with her arrest. I'm not totally sure. Again, I didn't look too much into it. And then there ends up being like the drug paraphernalia in the car.
Oh, I didn't see the part about drug paraphernalia.
Oh, yeah. Again, I mean, this is like my very
Like
minimal.
again, I'm sure that means weed, right? Is that what that
Well,
means?
so it sounded, I think it was like he had a bowl in the car that like had residue. Like I don't think there was actually any drugs in the car. I think there was like
Okay.
whether it was like a pipe, a bowl, one hit, whatever it was in the car. And that in addition to the other things was like enough to tip it over the edge. So then he also then was arrested. So definitely bad day for that couple for sure.
Yeah, this feels like it's a relationship that probably should go its separate ways. And again, this one here, I understand the spouse, significant other, whatever he is in this situation. Yeah, I'm sure she called him. I would imagine they had to be either close to their house or they were in the car, separate cars together, going to the same place as you just said. But yeah, I got the same jive, which was he just showed up there while she was being processed at the scene, and I guess the officer said to stay in your car. And I mean, he's not a small dude,
He's
so
not,
he's not a small dude, is he? No.
I feel like he's probably 5'7".
Okay, maybe he's not
Like
a tall
fit
dude.
for sure, but he's not big.
I would certainly be intimidated. Again, I'm sure a cop is supposed to keep control of the scene, which is
Oh,
like,
100%.
hey,
No, 100%.
yes,
100%.
please stay in your car. And again,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was no
yeah.
video. I didn't see any body cam video of this scene of
Mm-mm.
him being arrested. But I do understand, like, yeah, you can't have people just approaching as you're processing someone's spouse or again significant other in this
Yeah.
situation, and because that's just going to lead to no good. Like, hold on, just stay there. You may not like the way I'm doing my processing of this person, putting their handcuffs on, and maybe it's too tight for you, but you don't get to say that. You stay in your car. We'll deal with this on a separate situation. And he didn't listen to that request, instruction of the police officer. And yeah, what you have to. You have a problem, object later on, call an attorney afterwards. You don't get to just do what you want. You have to follow instructions while the instructions are being given. Again, they certainly weren't unreasonable instructions, which is stay in your goddamn car.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely unfortunate for everyone. Glad though it wasn't anything worse, right? Like I'm glad we're not
No, yeah, it
seeing
wasn't.
her.
This is something I think we've all sped. We've all exceeded
Yeah.
the speed limit. I can say I don't know that I've ever gone 104 miles an hour.
Oh
And
my
again, his point was you were weaving in and out of traffic. You were coming up on people. You were flashing your lights. We've all been on the highway when some jackass is doing something just like that, and you're like, what a jerk.
Right. And like how
Yeah.
unsafe,
Yeah, how unsafe it is. People weaving in and out of traffic. It's like, yeah, you're one unpredictable move away from causing somebody else's demise at
Mm-hmm.
that speed. You certainly can kill people at that speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
anyway, yeah, don't feel bad about that from that standpoint. But yeah, it's understandable how something like this happens. I don't know what the situation was. certainly she wasn't giving any excuse like I'm rushing to the hospital because I'm having a baby or anything like that. It was the speedometer, it was the phone's fault, it was something else, but it wasn't some kind of medical emergency in that regard. So,
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we'll try to keep the police blotter to a minimum and maybe not every podcast will have a police blotter, but certainly between Fred Curley and Shakira Richards, we seem to be having a lot of updates.
Yeah. I'll be happy when there's none. But I am interested to see how her season progresses, kind of what we're gonna see from her, if anything, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her in any of these races. I've certainly looked for her in the results, but haven't seen what her race schedule is. She seems to be in the news and not for running, which is not great.
Yeah, well, I feel like after the Olympics, kind of we saw very little of her, and it was all underwhelming, you know.
Yeah, yeah. She did run some events late last year, and you're right. It wasn't peak performance. So, okay. Shall we jump to a running channel? This is the runningchannel.com highlights.
Favorite website.
Yeah, I like this. I like this website. So they had a few stories I thought were, at least, you tell me if any of these intrigue you. First one was, what's the highest recorded VO2 max? I don't know. Do most people know what their VO2 max is? I did because, and again, I did, but it's from the standpoint of it's what my watch is telling me it is. That's not necessarily an official. It is not an official VO2 max.
Right.
Do you know what yours is?
No, I have stopped wearing my Garmin. But when I was, it definitely told me. But it's one of those things too, where it's like everyone I know who exercises has their VO2 max in like the superior column, and I'm like,
what? I thought I was the only one. I thought I was superior. You're
right.
killing me. I thought
right. You're like, we can't all be there.
I was like at 50, and it was like, man, I started at like 45, and it was like, wow, I moved it all the way up to like 51, 52, and I'm like, I am unbelievable. I might be the fittest dude on the planet. You're telling me everyone gets that same, this.
Everyone I know.
Maybe you just know a lot of really fit people.
Well, that's probably true.
I can't believe this. This is like the calorie burn on the treadmills and ellipticals. You feel like, I just burned 700 calories in 30 minutes. This is fantastic.
How are you doing that? Mine's like 120. I'm like, well, that's cool, I guess.
Maybe I had some janky treadmills. I'm sure, again, I know they're not accurate, but they want to make you feel good. Like, oh, you're really working it. You're working it, dude.
Sure.
But yeah, so anyway, just as a spoiler alert, the highest was over 100.
Oh my gosh.
It still isn't validated, but yeah, these are like the fittest dudes on the planet. These are the guys that are doing, major endurance athletes.
It's like Iron Man, right?
Mountain-based. I mean, VO2 max, basically, it's the measure of how efficient your body is at carrying oxygen to its cells and then converting it to energy. So, it's the fittest dudes on the planet, the guys that have like a 35 resting heart rate. Or those guys have the high VO2 max.
Yeah, crazy.
Anyway, all right, second story was 6 ways to improve your 5K in 4 weeks. Just 4 weeks.
Let's get into that one, because I have 4 weeks left of my winter series, and I need to improve my 5K.
All right, so let's launch that story. 6 ways to improve your 5K time, and we're just going to read the headlines, and we'll talk about the headlines of each of these stories. Here we go. Number 1.
Oh, man.
Number 1, don't try too hard.
Check.
We have that one conquered. Check. Yes, check. Right?
Check.
These are things that we've all heard about, right? Run one speed session each week. Are you check or not check?
It's probably like a 50-50, I feel like some weeks yes, some weeks no.
Yeah, I certainly, and by the way, my recommendation would be, and probably not yours as well, for most people, if you're just getting into running again after some time off, really just work on your base. Get out there. It's only once you can run, 45 minutes to an hour unbroken, that you sort of get into like, okay, now we can improve our speed by doing speed work. And again, I don't know what the right rule is, but maybe you have more rules than I do.
Yeah, I mean, It definitely depends on like what people's goals are. But yeah, I would say you always want to start with like a base. I always have people who are more consistently running at least 3 times a week, getting in there with like solid runs, not just like, we're working up to something before we start adding a speed session. But I will often have people who, as we are building the base, like add some of those strides at the end of their easy runs, just so we can make sure we're keeping form sharp and avoiding like getting really into weird running habits that way. But yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I think you hit on something, which is like, consistently running. You really need to be consistently running at a slow pace. So you have to master that first. Like if you're going out 3 times a week and your heart rate's at the absolute max at the end of each of those runs, you're probably still not either. You're probably either running too fast, or two, you're just not fit yet, enough yet. So you need to sort of slow down a bit, get the heart rate down, and build that up first to where you can comfortably run and keep your heart rate at a reasonable level, and not be running at the absolute max heart rate, because it's hard to add speed if you're already maxing out on your slow runs.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
totally.
right. That was that one. Number 3, build better running economy with hills and strides. And I know you're a coach, so you probably know these things. I don't do a lot of hills and strides. I tend to, like, if a hill comes up, I do it, but I'm not going out intentionally running hills.
No?
No, not recently anyway.
Hmm. Well, there's probably not a lot of hills in Florida either, right?
Not a lot of hills in Florida. There are certainly the one loop I do has a sizable, I don't know, I'll call it 200-meter relatively steep hill that I do. So I do get some hill work, but it's just that because it's there, not because I'm intentionally doing hills. But if
Yeah.
I'm really in shape and I'm doing speed work, I have added hills to workouts before. Now I just haven't been in great shape in the last, since our marathon 2 years ago. Happy anniversary on the marathon 2 years ago. I don't think it's the
Yeah.
anniversary date, but we're coming up on it.
Yeah, April.
Yep. All right. Anything else on economy and strides?
No,
What,
I
what,
think
what do you call strides? Like, what does that really look like?
so. Strides are like those, I don't know, 20 to 30-second sprint, but it's not usually an all out sprint. Oftentimes you are working up like the first half of it, whether it's 10 seconds or whatever, you're working up to a speed that's probably 85, 90% of top speed, and then you're maintaining that speed. So it's not supposed to be just like a full blown sprint the whole time. But yeah, again, it's focusing on that quick turnover, it's focusing on that form. So your body's kind of just remembering that efficiency, so you can kind of carry that over into your other runs. And yeah, you're usually doing a couple of them, 2 to 4, often at the end of an easy run. Not like if you're doing them in the middle of a run, that's kind of a different thing. And then taking a full recovery before starting again.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, I'm not always sure what I hear strides, like what people are defining as. Strength training each week. I think we've talked about that one many times, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a that's a that's a you know I think running is the best thing for running, but if you want to improve your running, then you got to do these other things
Yeah,
like strength training, like hills and strides and those kinds of things. But you got to get the base down first.
agreed.
All right, practice your pacing. You know what that means? At least here, it's like most 5K runners go out too hard and fade. That's probably, I feel for them. So I think obviously what they're talking about here is you need to be able to go out and know what you're supposed to be doing if you're going to run a 5K.
Yeah. It looks like they're also saying like tempo runs. So again, it's kind of talking about different ways to do your speed day that's also prepping you for that longer sustained pace at your goal pace, race pace, whatever it is, not just like full out sprint. Um, but personally, I think that in addition to actually being comfortable with whatever your race pace is, like a lot of that also is the mental side. Cause I think people can be really comfortable with their race pace, but if you're doing a busy 5K, you can get really caught up in whoever's around you and or trying to get away from whoever's around you, and you completely just forget about your pacing strategy. So I think that's a big part too, is mentally making sure you're focused and able to just like zone in on yourself.
All right, and number 6, the last one, improve your non-running factors. I don't know if you'll be able to see what those are, but number one, and that is sleep, nutrition, mental preparation, new shoes, question mark?
New shoes?
Yeah.
No.
Hot bath or sauna, question mark. There you go.
Question mark.
So yeah, these are the things that obviously most of them are recovery and fueling related. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously running is the most important thing, but number two is is recovery and all those other things. To if you get a lot of benefit out of just recovery, and like sleeping is probably the biggest piece of recovery.
Yes, and I feel like any coach will always tell you that sleep, any coach, any athlete's gonna say, like, when I dialed in on sleep or when you dial in on sleep, it's gonna be like the best thing that you do for your training, for your results. So I agree with that one, all of those recovery type things. Um,
Yeah, because I think people worry about like a lot of these other little subtleties, biohacks and everything else, and it's like, yeah, I think those things can maybe help you a little bit, but you got to get like these other five things right first. Like it's not going to help if you're trying to do some miscellaneous biohack and some vitamin that's supposed to be able to do X, Y, and Z if you're not sleeping well. Like you're just not going to be able to go out and perform if your body is fatigued to start with. So anyway, all right, that takes care of that one. Let's see if any of these other ones intrigue you. 6 things every runner needs to do every week. I feel like, did we
oh
just
yeah,
cover
well, I'm
that?
already improving my 5K, so let's see what I need to be doing every week.
All right, every week. What are we going to do every week?
Probably none of these things, or unless it's the same list.
Not the
Do
same list.
less
Not the same list. Ready? Number one. Number one. Do some intentional fast running.
sounds a lot like having one speed day a week.
All right. Number two. Do a long run.
Okay.
We talked about that. That wasn't on the last list. Do a long run. That'll help your base. That'll make you stronger on those shorter runs.
Agreed. And I think I like that they point that out in here that long run is relative because I think a lot of times, especially as people are getting into running or building up a base, like we forget you don't have to have every run be your 20-minute run or your 2-mile run, or whatever it is. Like there can be that one that pushes it just a little bit, not pushing it too much. But like you should have that varied long run in there. Pretty much whatever your goal is.
Ensure you rest properly.
Of course.
Just nailed that one a few minutes ago. You need to eat and drink well, and drink doesn't mean alcohol.
Right.
Yep. Don't neglect
And
strength and mobility.
well, just to go back to eating and drinking well too, I imagine I'm not like reading all of it right now, but in addition to, especially what the last article was talking about with like proper nutrition, just regularly is like eating and drinking, fueling on your runs as well, I would imagine.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Don't neglect strength and mobility. I don't do a lot of mobility, and I don't know. Is I've seen different articles about mobility and stretching. Maybe I'm confusing mobility with just doing static stretches, but certainly I think we all recognize the benefits of strength training. And again, that's a great ad to put in to improve your performance and probably prevent injuries. But mobility, I neglect more than probably anybody.
Yeah. Well, and I think like you kind of said, right, mobility gets a little confusing because it sounds synonymous with stretching, which again, there's like mixed messages always out there about stretching before, stretching after, dynamic stretching, static stretching, like any of the things, right? At least for me, I view mobility more as like range of motion. So if we don't have the right range of motion, our running mechanics can't be where they are. So you might not have to do static stretches, toe touches, whatever it is to have that correct range of motion, but you need to do something to make sure that you do have that. So if we're doing squats, like, am I able to get all the way deep into a squat? Is my hip fully bending and then extending? Like, am I able to do all those things? If I'm not, then do I need to add some yoga? Do I need to add at a different time some static stretching to be able to maintain that range of motion? Or do I have a weakness that's preventing me from being able to get that way? So it kind of depends on like what you need for mobility. But yeah, it could be things just like making sure you have your dynamic warm up, making sure you do some yoga, adding some Pilates to make sure you have all of the movements that you need to have. So I guess that kind of is stretching sometimes too.
Yeah. I know you're not a physical therapist, but I had to do physical therapy for my runner's knee, and that was a lot of the stuff that they did. The assessment process was all around. Let's first look at your range of motion. Let's look at
Mhm.
does your knee straighten all the way out? They're like your knees don't straighten them. I'm like, yeah, if I straighten it all the way, it hurts. So I keep my knee slightly bent.
Hmm.
Like, well, yeah, you got to work on on that range of motion. You got to get your leg to where it straightens all the way out. And then the same thing with hips and ankles. Like if your ankle doesn't bend properly on a run, the stress has to go somewhere, and it goes to your knee or your hip, and that's why your knee or your hip ends up hurting. So yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah.
that process, and obviously almost all of the exercises were either improving range of motion or improving strength in ankles or hips, in addition to strengthening knee areas to compensate or correct, that pressure point that I was creating
Right.
on that joint. So
Exactly.
yep, and then always check that you're doing okay. So I think it has to do with like listen to your body is the first thing. Like how do you feel? Like if
Okay.
you're in a good routine, you should be able to sleep well at night. You should feel rested when you get up. And again, no one feels great when an alarm goes off at 6 a.m. Right? I think there's a difference between being rested. It's like you're not falling asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, um, or you're not only getting 4 hours of sleep a night, and you're not special. And by the way, no one's special. There's this. You keep hearing about these one fraction of 1% that can survive on like 3 hours of sleep a night. No, you're not one of them. No one is one of those people. And if they are, they're not the people who are running every day. So
Yeah.
let's just get that out of our head. It's not a possibility. So everyone needs that 7 to 8 hours of sleep consistently, and yeah, so do that. But just check your mind. Like you should feel like you're able to sleep. You should have a good appetite. Um, you should feel good. You should feel healthy. You shouldn't feel in pain all the time. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's something we also probably don't always do, is like taking an inventory on like how we're doing, how we're feeling. And I think especially as we get more into like a very focused goal, we kind of put that aside of like, well, this is how I'm supposed to feel during marathon training, or does it matter because I have to do my workouts this way, kind of thing. I have one runner who is great at this stuff and will message me and just be like, it has nothing to do with running, but I'm like so burnt out from work or whatever. My health is just acting up. Um, but I think running is not going to help. So like can we change some things? And like there really is almost, and she runs multiple races this season, like, and never had to like bail on a goal, but like is very good at making sure she checks on how she's doing with her nutrition, with her sleep, with her work, with balancing the running. And then like we adjust accordingly because you pretty much always can, you know what I mean? So I think we all kind of need to make sure that's a big part of it too, of like, well, I'm running this way all the time and my ankles always hurt, but like I gotta keep running this way. And it's like, maybe we don't.
Yeah, let's try something different. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do something different that might stop that pain from happening. So yeah, be conscious of if you have again, you're going to have some aches and pains, right? That's
Yeah.
just the nature of exercise is one, it doesn't always feel great when you're doing it. And two, it can, you can have a little bit of muscle soreness, but you just got to be conscious of, is it something that's persisting or getting worse? That's an indication of something just hurts a little bit after a particular run. I wouldn't sweat it, but if it hurts after the second, third, fourth run, or again, it elevates in pain, that's something you got to start to figure out why. What am I doing that's causing this discomfort?
Yeah, totally.
All right. So last couple things on the running channel was how to become a better runner in 2026. We can save that one for next week if you would like. And then the
Yeah.
London Marathon Elite Field is out.
Oh
It
man.
looks like a good field. The London looks like it has the best field of the spring races.
Okay.
I'm not even going to tell you who's in it. I'm not going to tell you. Safan Hassan. Safan Hassan's in it.
Are you excited?
I am. yeah, but both fields have pretty strong men and women on the elite side. So none of the key. I just saw a list of like the 20 elites. There were no Americans listed under the 20 elites. Now again, their times may just not be in the top 20, and therefore they're not listed there.
Wow.
But yeah, I think I saw. Well, I won't even go into it, but I saw Safan Hassan was listed under the women's side.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her run again. I know she ran 3 last year, so hopefully she's only running 2 this year. She didn't look great in the third when she ran.
Has she run London before?
I don't know which spring one she did last year. I don't recall.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember either if it was. I feel like London and Berlin always like mix up in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And obviously Boston's that other sort of spring one that's there.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Oh, that'd be exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week to talk about, what was it?
See, how to become a better runner in 2026.
How to become a better runner. You'll find out next week. We'll be here live Tuesday, 9:45 a.m. in the Starbucks parking lot.
Unless we have a problem.
Right, unless like school's canceled or I'm working in the classroom or Jeff's driving home from Florida, which he probably won't be.
Yeah.
Then we'll be somewhere else.